Welcome to Two Bald Men Fighting Over a Comb, a podcast in which Tom and Rob disentangle your neural pathways and battle to squeeze a last drop of dopamine from your desiccated prefrontal cortexes. So, Rob, speak to me.
Well, I'll speak to you about a couple of weeks ago. I was watching TV. Well, just channel hopping because there's so many channels of crap. And there was the Olympics. I don't know if that was like the Commonwealth Games or, I don't know, some athletics thing going on. No one broke any records or anything like that. And I thought to myself, is it going to get to a point where no one can break any records? And then it got me thinking about when I was little, you had like, was it Ben Johnson or something like that who broke the world record, and then there's this whole thing about, oh, he'd taken performance-enhancing drugs.
He had great eyes, he had great bulgy eyes, didn't he?
He did, probably from all the steroids he was taking. That might have been what it was. And then that got me thinking about if they had, say, an Olympics where they had performance-enhancing drugs, like how much better that would be. So in terms of, because I was looking at some of the things, like some of the events. So like, for example, the 100 metres, the world record by Usain Bolt is 9.58 seconds. And I thought,
slow, I can do better.
Well, do you know what? If you were to put my laptop at 100 metres away, and then my wife was to say, I'm just going to have a quick look on the internet, and I'd be like, quick, I'd be like, phew. So I thought, yeah, someone sprinting, like 100 metres, so they did it in 7 seconds. I don't know how fast they could be. You could have javelin. I mean, oof. How long would they be able to throw that javelin?
Would the stadium be big enough? They might throw it and then it goes so far that it lands in a spectator at the far end.
Well, you pay extra for those seats. Do you know what I mean? It's like in cricket, you get to catch it. It's stuff like, you might have to catch it in your sternum, but...
Funnily enough, this reminds me of a story. Well, it's not a story, it's a real thing that happened. It's at my old school, one of the games teachers used to put javelins on the running track to mark the start and finish line.
Right.
And he'd been doing it for years. A really good teacher. He'd been doing it for years. And it just happened that this one time, this is after I left the school, it's about sort of, I think, 15 years after I'd gone, a kid was running along and he tripped and basically impaled himself on one of the javelins that the teacher had put into the side of the track.
Jeepers.
So
how small are these javelins? Because they're quite big. If it had done them upright,
no, they're proper javelins. This kid proper impaled himself. So,
jeez.
But then it's a tragedy in a way. The kid lived,
Right.
and he lived because of the first aid that this teacher did.
Right.
And so he was a bit of a hero, even though it's his
Fault.
mistake. We call it a mistake. I mean, it's something he'd been doing for years, and there'd never been a problem. And he did it when I was there. They used to whack the javelin in as you're running to here, sort of thing. And it never caused an issue. And this one time, the kid, the odds were against him, and this kid flew onto the javelin.
Oh right. At my school, we used to get someone to paint the white lines. We had a groundsman. No.
There were white lines, but they would sort of do, if you wanted to do 50 metres rather than 100, you'd stick the javelin in at 50 metres. It was like a marking post, like putting a cone down. And I remember him sticking it in vertically as well. So I don't know, maybe
how
on
on
the side,
this...
or maybe he stuck it in slightly askew or something.
As I say, these 8-foot kids. He's
a
asking for
perfect
trouble.
storm. Yeah.
Exactly. Just use a cone. He uses cones now, and he's just thinking. Yeah. Where have they been all my life?
They're growing big in Kent, the 8-foot children.
Yeah. Is he still a teacher, or is he?
Well, he would probably be old enough to be retired now, but I think he lost his job over it, which sort of makes sense. But
I saved him.
It was a tragedy because the guy was a really good teacher. So.
Well, sports teachers I've generally found to be a bit kind of odd because we used to have one teacher at our school.
Some.
Yeah. Some. I know it's I'm just broadly some. Because our teacher used to watch us all shower, it's crazy.
Oh, that's not right.
yeah.
But they always turn out, other than being paedophiles, they also turn out to be geography teachers, don't they?
What, paedophiles?
Paedophiles. No, games teachers are always geography teachers. That's their subject.
That's because they're like walking lots, probably. My geography teacher's name, because he was a really nice teacher, but his name was Mr. Peachy. And he was a really nice guy. Unless I remember there was a kid in our class who always used to kind of play up, and he used to absolutely go crimson. And then we had a science teacher who used to lean on these on the science taps. They're great big things that used to piddle out a little bit of water for your test tubes. And he always used to lean on them. Mr. Oxborough, he always used to walk from one end, lean and talk, walk on another. And so someone decided to blue tack some drawing pins onto the top. But anyway, so
it sounds like he was drunk. So long sprays all the way across the room.
He's got a lean and stuff. Yeah, he's sniffing all those
or
chemicals.
One leg longer than the other, or shorter than the other. Yeah.
Yeah. So going back to my idea about the performance-enhancing drugs, weightlifting, that could be another one. Long jump. I think you were right actually in thinking that they would have to extend the stadiums. But off the back of that, I thought to myself, I can't be the only idiot who's come up with that idea. And sure enough, there is something called the Enhanced Games. And so if you go to enhanced.org, they say it's a better version of the Olympics.
And we'll get there eventually, because it's what we humans do. We break a good thing and, to take it to its limit, don't we?
Well, that's what they're saying. Like, they're saying the rationale behind the Enhanced Games is that they'll pay every athlete, not the kind of ones who are brilliant and getting loads of sponsorship off the back of being successful. He was saying it's your body, your choice type thing. They would give them.
Do you think people though will push it too far though, and they'll take stuff that's not been tested very much, experimental drugs that will
Well, their coach is pushing them and stuff. You mean?
Yeah, they might grow an extra buttock or something, or
third bicep.
Third bicep, or just have a cardiac arrest.
Well, this is the thing. They would give. So part of what they were saying, they would have like proper kind of medical procedures in place in terms of advisory in capacity, in terms of what they should and shouldn't take and how much they should take, and they would give them free like heart monitoring.
That would all slip though, wouldn't it? When there's no rules, it becomes a bit of a wild west, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, exactly. Well, I don't know, but it'd be interesting because they're saying that they want to start the first one in just one event in like December 2023, and they're saying they're hoping that they're going to have some Olympics, some proper ones in 2024, and a lot of athletes apparently have shown an interest.
I think we, on a slightly different note, we do need to do it, because with the existential threat that AI posts, if it's going to be like a Terminator scenario, then we need to start
beefing ourselves up.
Beefing ourselves up a bit, yeah, making ourselves a little bit better than we are at the minute. There's going to be no rules and no fair play when it comes to staying alive, because the big nasty robot is chasing you.
Right. But the thing is, you will run out of puff eventually. I guess they'd run out of battery, or just burn up because their batteries don't work properly.
Exactly, yeah, and you could give people just like lots of crystal meth or something alongside their performance-enhancing drugs, so they don't need to go to sleep.
Wow, they used to do that with didn't they test that on soldiers? At some point?
I think there's a few drugs that came about through war and the Nazis trying to make people super soldiers, or able to not get upset about the fact that they've not eaten anything in 5 days and they've got to go and shoot people.
Bloody hell. Super implode. But no, that was like the Olympics, because I also thought as well about, in a similar vein, like about that whole elitist thing of, if you're good at a certain sport, you'll be pulled out of school to a certain degree and have the best coaches, the best facilities, and what have you.
It was all the lottery money, wasn't it, went on making London, was it 2012? London 2012, a big thing. They started pumping lottery money into it.
I don't know if they put lottery money into it. I know
a generation before, but a lot of that money got put on people in private schools, who had the money, and already it wasn't sort of trickled down to your poor kids in the comprehensives. It was you look at the rowers and the athletes, and I mean there's going to be the odd one here and there that's working class and they've just done really well, but yeah, I think that was a criticism of London 2012 at the time. Was yeah, it was the big money went to people who already had money.
With the Olympics and that whole thing of, well, I just don't agree with it being, you know, an elitist sport to a certain degree. I thought there should be like a national Olympics where everyone is balloted in the country, and so you could get a letter through your door, a bit like jury duty. You get something lands through the door, it's like, oh shit, I'm doing the javelin. And then you've got 4 years and you have the best coaches, they train you and all that stuff. And then all the other countries in the world are doing exactly the same thing. And so it kind of gives it more of like an even keel. So it's all literally about that individual, how they're trained and everything else. Because you could say, is it the individual who is born with this natural gift, or can it be trained? And over 4 years, you'd think, you know, throwing a long metal pole, you know. Say that kid who fell on it, it's like gets the thing, you're doing the javelin. Ah!
It brings back memories. Yeah, I mean, there's a whiff of, I don't know, it feels a bit communist.
I thought you were going to say a whiff of deep heat or something.
Well, yeah, there's that as well.
Yeah.
But, yeah, sort of not selecting people on merit, but selecting people in an arbitrary fashion. But in a way, it would be interesting to see, you know, what results would happen when you just picked like an average Joe from a country and said, go and do this elite thing. It'd be nice for them to be in a stadium, you know, and even if they finish last, you know, running around on a lap of honour, or, you know.
A bit like Eddie the Eagle Edwards. Do you remember him?
I remember him, yeah. He had a great moustache, I believe.
I think he did have a great moustache and I think he was long-sighted because he had quite thick glasses.
Old, glasses, yeah. He looks a bit like a sex offender.
Well, yeah, I don't know. What do sex offenders look like?
I don't know, in the 80s, I think there's a definite skew towards more people looking like sex offenders. So it's either there were more sex offenders because it was less frowned upon then, or just people naturally looked more like sex offenders. You know, the fashion was a bit more sex offendery. I'm not making this up though. You look at like any sort of photo from the 80s, there's going to be at least one person there who looks like a sex offender.
So shell suits, moustache and mullets.
Well, that's
stay
not all
clear,
was.
kids.
Moustaches, yeah.
Tight jeans.
You know, there's all sorts.
I think I just described Freddie Mercury, didn't I? If I said jeans, white vest, moustache.
Oh dear, Rob, that's no good.
Obviously, with the Olympics, you could have the National Olympics, you could have the National Paralympics as well. I did go at the 2012 Olympics to see some of the Paralympic games because I find them more interesting because people have overcome like obstacles and what have you. And then as part of that, well, I was part of an event. And what it is that we managed to get somebody from I think it was the sitting basketball team or something like that, who was a Paralympian. And so he came and he had both of his legs amputated. What
was with you?
Not with me. Yeah, exactly. It's like, you look normal. I'm going to have to do something here. People say normal. You look able-bodied. People aren't going to believe you. But then what it is that he was there. He had his obviously his Hope for Heroes wristband on and what have you. It was interesting because where obviously I was sat talking to him for a little bit. It came upon about how he'd lost his legs. So he was on tour in Afghanistan, and then he contracted meningitis, and he had to have his legs amputated. And I thought, well, there are people who didn't go to war who have had their legs amputated, or even worse, that they've had to, you know, you read these things about these poor little kids or whatever it is who have had to have their arms and legs amputated because of meningitis.
Landmines as well. Yeah.
But it just got me thinking about that whole thing about Hope for Heroes. And I'm not saying this guy's not a hero, and I don't want it to be a thing of...
Is it Hope or Help for Heroes?
Oh, Help for Heroes. Yeah, Help for Heroes. Hope, help, I don't know. But it just got me thinking about, like, well, would I consider him to be a hero or not? I know he was obviously in the war, and that's where he overcame his, he lost his legs whilst over there. But it was from like meningitis. If it had been like, oh, I saved loads of people, and you know, as I was carrying the last person out of still in the mine or something, and it just got me thinking about, you know, heroes, and it for a long time, I think during that particular period, there was a lot of the things in the news. You could get these jumpers, you could get wristbands, you get T-shirts, everything about, oh, yeah, Hope for Heroes. They're all heroes. And I thought, well, you could always argue Prince Harry you know, he was in a helicopter, shot loads of people, as he told them about in his book. And it's like these innocent people, because in the war, I think during like the Iraq War, the Afghanistani War, a lot of innocent people were killed by British soldiers. Are they heroes for doing that? You know, and I just don't like the idea that it's forced upon you to say these people are your heroes, and it's like, well,
I think what you're driving at is if you have a different point of view, it feels very uncomfortable.
yeah,
Because what you're dismissing, I suppose, in a way, is something which might be quite heroic. You know, it's like I think you can disagree in principle with war, and
what is it good for?
Absolutely nothing.
Say it again.
But so you can disagree with the war in principle, and you've got soldiers going out. They've chosen to be soldiers as a job. They don't get paid enough, and it's it's shitty wages for risking your life. But that ultimately it's a choice for most to go into this profession, and then they're going out and doing things which are part of when you join the army. You expect at some point you're going to be shooting at something, and someone's going to be shooting at you. So to go in and do that when you've had training to do it, is it heroic? I don't know. Probably. I think of heroism in war more like World War I and World War II, where people are enlisted into the army. They don't have a choice about whether they go and fight. Well, they do. They can be conscientious objectors, but that's not much fun either.
Yes.
And then these people fighting what is a good war, in inverted commas, because there were things that we did in World War II which were horrific, like the carpet bombing of German cities, which had nothing to do with hitting military targets. It was all about demoralising the Germans, and we killed a lot of people. I think particularly over Hamburg. I think wherever there is war, that environment of chaos will bring out the worst in people. It doesn't matter which side you're on. So I think it goes back to where we start the conversation with just because a war is wrong and war isn't a good thing, it doesn't mean the people who are fighting in it deserve to have their actions dismissed. I'd say probably not. But at the same time, should we revere them as heroes when we're uncomfortable with what they're a part of? Again, maybe not. And I think the feeling with Help for Heroes, and there's a lot of this stuff going on in America, much more forcefully than in this country, where they respect their armed forces incredibly, and it's almost like a religion. It's like you can't speak against it. You can't say anything that denigrates veterans in America, or you just get punched out in the street, or
well, there's not. I mean, the thing
shit
is,
in your letterbox.
they hold them in such high esteem, and I think this whole thing of Help for Heroes is that what support is there available to them when they come back? Post-traumatic stress disorder. When they come out of the army, they're so used to having a structure that they feel lost, and they become alcoholics or drug dependents, or
there's also the PTSD of what they've seen.
Yeah,
so
of course.
It doesn't matter how much you train for going into those environments. When you're in amongst limbs flying and friends being killed in front of your eyes, and fearing your own death, it's going to be traumatic. It doesn't matter how good your training is. There's a lot of that. I mean, you look at. I suppose the perfect storm in all of this is Vietnam. People came back from the war, which they'd been enlisted into. They saw horrific things. They had PTSD. They came back and they were slagged off by people in their own country because of what we discussed. People weren't happy with the fact that America were at war in Vietnam, and they took it out on the veterans who were coming home. And it's like a perfect storm. There's so many American veterans from Vietnam who had problems with PTSD, mental health, drug addiction, alcoholism. It's an interesting topic. I don't know if we can cover the answers adequately.
No, I don't think so either.
Particularly when we're a bit silly.
Well, just not to lighten the mood or anything else, but when I was younger, I don't think you get it so much now, but in shoe shops, outside the front of shoe shops, they would always have just one shoe. And I think when I was little, because there was a few people who lived around our way, they had like an amputation and stuff, and prosthetics back then weren't or they were very much not like now where it's more the norm where people are quite willing to show off their prosthetic legs, not show off, but do you know what I mean, wear shorts as opposed to covering them up because they looked horrible.
It's not so
plastic
strange
things.
to see, is it?
Absolutely. And I used to think that those shoes were for people who perhaps only had one leg, that they were available. And it did actually make me think recently, say for example, you only have one leg, where would you go shoe shopping? Is there an online shop where you can just buy a left shoe in, say, the size 9? Or do you have to buy a pair of shoes? Because wouldn't that be unfairly...
This is a business opportunity.
This is a bit. We just need to rob the shoes from these shoe shops out the front.
This needs to be in the last episode, isn't it?
We needed to have come up with the. But no, I don't know. I thought, is there an online shop? I've not looked, but there must be something, because why would you? Unless of course it's like you buddy up with somebody. There's a forum where you say, I'm looking for. I need a left size 8 night trainer, preferably in black. I'm thinking about buying these. Does anyone go halves with me or something? No, I just thought, where did they buy their shoes from, their footwear? Because I've only ever seen pairs of shoes available.
But then, it's like, do they just have instead of trousers, is it just trouser? Because that's why it's plural, because there used to be two garments that were sewn together around the crotch. That's why they're trousers and pants.
So you're saying that they should
shorts.
have trousers which with one, if say for example they had an amputation and they didn't wish to wear a prosthetic, that there were clothes available.
It probably exists, doesn't it? Probably exists. But then maybe there's a loophole in the market here that we can fill.
A tailoring service.
A hole in the market.
I can't sew. So.
Yeah, well, it's like sewing machines. Again, it's AI. AI gets everywhere.
AI?
Did you know, I was listening on the radio, I heard this the other day, an electric scooter, the kind you see people buzzing around on in the town centres, and curse when you're driving.
I'll tell you what, right, they've got such small wheels, the slightest bump, they're going to fall off. They don't have to wear helmets.
Yeah.
And
they're driven by people without licences who drive like fools.
Yeah.
Anywho, I was listening to a thing on the radio, and an expert in batteries, because it was talking about house fires that are caused by these electric scooters when they get charged incorrectly or like a cheap knockoff charger from the mains. Mm-hmm. There's lots of house fires being caused. Apparently, the batteries in these things have the power of 6 hand grenades.
Bloody hell.
So I thought, you could. There's an opportunity there for terrorists if they heard that on the radio. You get your terrorist mates, all drive a scooter down to your local place that you want to blow up.
What, if ride into it? Like, boom.
Well, no, you just plug it in.
Right, just charging this here.
Yeah, boom.
Oh, okay. Talking electric cars or electric, batteries and stuff like that. I saw that Hyundai are releasing a car soon, which is completely works on water, a hydrogen car. And what it does is it sucks in polluted air from the front of the car, cleans it because it needs this clean oxygen or air to mix with the water or something to create this combustion. And then pure drinking water will come out of the exhausts. So as these cars are driving on the motorway, they're literally cleaning the air as they go on.
And if you're feeling thirsty, you can just lie under the car, hold on, and go.
You could do a bit like that guy who escaped from Wandsworth Prison. Do you know what he should have done? He should have broken back into prison, and just gone. What are you on about? I haven't gone anywhere, and just completely made fools of the thing. And to fill up your car, it will only take like 4 minutes or something. You just pour water into it. As opposed to these electric cars, which take forever sometimes to charge, and if you're not, and I just think hydrogen's the way forward. But of course, that's not only now coming out, so everyone's gone off and bought these electric Teslas or other electronic cars. I've driven one, not a Tesla. I've driven a Renault Zoe, electric, and tell you what, the acceleration on those things is scary. Like how quickly you can just zoom. I don't.
I have
'cause
that
it
on my
scares me.
mobility scooter.
Does it?
Mm.
What, eco and
Run.
super fast?
Yeah, I like running kids down.
They do
Yeah,
go
you
at
get
some
the-
speed though. Those mobility
They
scooters.
don't go fast enough, do they? I mean, it's like you get
They go too fast, I think.
you get occasionally, well, quite frequently, probably about the same frequency you see urban foxes. You see someone on a mobility scooter who decides it's best to ride in the road than on the pavement, and they cause a tailback for about half a mile.
Yeah, well, I think there was some. There was in the local news recently that somebody was driving one of those on the motorway or something. You do hear about these people who they decide, oh, I've had a skinful in the pub, or they go to the pub, get quietly bladdered, and then they drive these things back, and it's like, well, where's the responsibility? Because you are literally driving, and something, and that probably says in the instructions, don't drive if you're under the influence of any medication or alcohol.
Yeah, I think you can be done for drunk cycling. I know that much.
Oh, right. Well, that's the thing. Living in London, I was completely put off by cyclists. The other day, actually, I was driving somewhere. I was about to pull out. All the cars were going at, the speed limit, so I was able to determine how quickly I should. And then this cyclist, came zooming along, overtaking all of the cars. So I pulled that. I mean, I must have pulled that maybe half a metre, but then quickly put it into reverse. And so, I wouldn't have hit him, but I still moved back thinking, blimey, he's coming at some speed. And he looked at me and shaking his head like, ugh. But I thought, you're going above the speed limit.
Yeah.
I
got hit by a bike. You probably don't know Bristol that well, but there's a big hill called Park Street that sort of stretches around from town centre. And it's proper steep, proper long. And I was going home from work, and I was going up Park Street, and it was the traffic jam all the way up Park Street. So I was like, okay, I can cross the road quite easily, and I was quite near the bottom. I just pulled out. I pulled out. Can you pull out?
What did you pull out?
Pulled out my gun. I just walked past the car like you would to cross the road, and this cyclist was tearing down the hill, and I didn't see him because I'm
silent assassins.
Silent assassin, yeah. It's like these electric cars; they're silent, aren't they? And I completely knocked him off his bike. He completely knocked into me, and he gave me a load of shit about it, like for not looking where I was going. But I was a bit like, well, you need to have hazard awareness. If you're a car driver, you know that.
Yeah. On my car, talk about hazard things and everything else. I haven't got the front sensors, but when I reverse, it does that whole beep, 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 beep. And I would love to change it to a voice that just goes, whoa. So it just says this, whoa, 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 whoa. I think that'd be much better.
Rain in, son, rain in!
You stop! You fucking idiot, stop!
I had an old Renault Clio. It was a horrid car. It's like the most I'd ever spent on the car at the time. It was £1,300. This is about 2008 or 2009. A Renault Clio, and it just cost loads on the MOTs and broke down all the time. But it had a snow button in it.
A what button?
A snow button. And I always wondered, what that does, this snow button. And then I was on top of a hill in Bristol, driving along. It was snowing, a bit icy, and the car started sliding. I'm like, pump the brakes, nothing happens. I'm like, I've got a snow button! Press the snow button, expecting it to start sliding.
What?
expecting it would stop me sliding down the hill, this snow button.
So what did it do?
I don't know.
Started snowing even more. It's like, oh, that's what it does.
It's like, yeah, it's a mystery to this day what the snow button's for.
Wow.
Yeah. You need to have chains. If we lived in a colder country, we'd have chains that we put around.
Oh yeah. Or Skodas, like the old Skodas. Because they were like designed for cold weather. They were the only cars you'd ever see. Because chokes, what happened to the chokes? They're all automatic now, aren't it? I like pulling that out. Make sure the orange thing was still on. Driving along. Oh, you still got your choke pulled out.
You know, I used to fuck that up all the time. You flood the engine, don't you? I used to flood the engine.
Oh, I don't know. I've never had a car with that. I just remember being one when I was little, and I was like, what does that do?
I had a Fiat. One of my first Fiestas had a choke on it. So there you go.
There you go.
It's where my choking in life started. And I've choked everything I've ever tried to achieve ever since.
Do you want to hear a song?
I'd love to hear a song, Rob.
So I've written a song, right? It's
this is the first I've heard of it.
I know. I thought I'd surprise you with it, right? It's a tender love song between two people. Just for context, a boy and a girl, of legal consensual age.
Yes.
And yeah, it's quite a sweet song, and I'll play it for you now. Just get me beatbox thing sorted out. Hang on.
Looking forward to it. Go for it.
What you gonna do when you suck my dick? Suck my dick, suck my dick. What you gonna do when you suck my dick? Suck my dick, suck my dick. Suck your penis, not until I get my cunnilingus. Suck your dick, it's not looking at its cleanest. Come on baby, let's 69, you can get yours, I can get mine. Come on baby, let's 69, you can get yours, I can get mine. What you gonna do when you suck my clit? Suck my clit, suck my clit. What you gonna do when you suck my clit? Suck my clit, suck my clit. Suck your vagina, kiss your vulva, suck to your ass and it smells quite similar. Suck your fanny quince, fish your quim. Have you heard of chokery? Give it a trim. Come on baby, let's 69, you can get yours, I can get mine. Come on baby, let's 69, you can get yours, I can get mine.
Well, as I said, I don't think it's something I'll be able to perform on Top of the Pops.
Why not?
I think it sounds something like the Beastie Boys could have released.
I thought it had a bit of a block rocking beats feel to the music.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard a song like it. There might be a reason.
I think you should. I definitely think you should release it. I think you probably get cancelled in seconds.
Oh, well, I was going to put it on YouTube. Because we do. That's the thing. We have got a YouTube channel, haven't we?
Yeah, you can do it.
Yeah.
People have it as their ringtone.
Do it. I think it'd be a really good one.
Anyway, speaking of listening to things back, I'd just like to provide a bit of context to our listeners. We have tried to record this episode a couple of times.
There's a hair in your gate.
Yes, absolutely.
The context is that the last show, which we thought we'd recorded beautifully, you were asking, 5 questions, you were asking me if I got them wrong, I had to wax some hair off of my body, and obviously the opposite, and you did the same. Right. I tell you what, right, my arm, there's no hair growing back on it, right? It
will do.
Eventually.
Patience.
But no, it's just, I tell you what, it's been weird, because I've been wearing, obviously this hot weather, I've been wearing short sleeves, or, rolling my sleeves up at work. It's like,
to add a bit more context, I waxed my leg. It's gone back to shorts weather, so my legs have looked a bit strange. But we're going to go back to the waxing anyway. I've got a different quiz for young Robert.
Yes.
This is 10 questions.
10?
10, yeah. Sorry, it's quite quick.
Oh my God.
If you get more than 5 right, so 6 and above, I wax another part of my body. If you get fewer than 5 right, you wax. And then if it's 5 in the middle, we both wax.
Oh my God, all right.
Oh, come on.
Before. I'm not looking forward to it again.
Okay, well, that's good. That's
people do it for fun. Do people do it for fun? I don't know, not for fun.
No, people do it for vanity, don't they?
Or,
okay,
or
you ready, sir?
Podcasts. That's what I'm finding out. All right, I'm going to do the top of my leg if I get it wrong. Oh, because it's the bit...
Don't put it on yet.
I'm not going to put it on yet. I'm sat on a strip. This hot weather, I'm wondering whether I'm going to accidentally wax my perineum. That'd be...
Well, if you do, let me see.
I will.
Just
I'll let everyone see it.
Turn your arse around to the camera. Yeah, I'll photograph it, and it can be up on the YouTube.
That would.
Maybe your tune behind it. Maybe that can be the picture of your tune on YouTube. Anyway, so the topic of this quiz is famous movie porn versions. So I'm going to give you the name of the normal movie, and you need to, fairly quickly, you can't think about it too long, give me what you think the porn movie version of it is.
All right.
These are real porn movies apart from one, which is just a good idea for one. Okay, number 1, Edward Scissorhands.
Edward Cockfingers.
Oh, you're so close, but you're wrong.
Dick Fingers. Edward Dick
No,
Fingers.
Edward Penis Hands.
Oh, come on. Oh, all right,
What's
one
this?
to you. Oh, this is bullshit.
Yeah, you're tallying it, good.
Yeah, I'm tallying it, yeah.
Right, number 2, Forrest Gump.
Forrest Hump.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Oh,
All right.
Right, this is my favourite one. Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Star Trek: The Next Penetration.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. I'm gonna have a job. I've got a new job in mind for coming up with names of these things. Come on, the next one. I'm on a roll.
Star Wars.
Star Wars. Star Whores.
Oh, you bastard!
Oh,
I'm
nice.
going to be waxing at this rate. This is terrible.
This is 3 to be 3-1. All right, come on.
Okay. The Exorcist.
The Exorcist. The Ex-Sexist.
No.
Oh, what is it called?
It's the Exorcist.
Oh shit. 3-2.
Dracula.
Cockula.
No. Ejacula. All right, number 7. What's our score at the minute? 3-3.
It's 3-3.
All right, number 7. Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction. Sex Friction.
Oh, so close, but you're wrong. It's Pulp Friction. I think yours is better.
4-3. Oh God. Come on.
Number 8. V for Vendetta.
Oh, V for vagina.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, it's 4-4. Oh my God.
Okay.
Come on, I've got to get the next 2 right.
All right, number 9. Independence Day.
Independence Day. In the Pants Day.
Wrong.
Oh, what was it?
So you're definitely waxing in some capacity here. It's In Rear Endance Day.
5-4.
All right, so this is to make me wax. This is probably the most well-known of all of them, so I think we're both going to be waxing. Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, Shaving Private. Ryan's Privates.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're both waxing. All right then.
What are you going to do? You're going to do top of your leg?
If I must, if that makes you happy.
I'm going to do the top of my leg.
I need to take my trousers off to do that. You're going to see me in the pants.
Oh,
I've got
right.
these new pants just for this episode.
I'm wearing... Oh, Jesus.
What do you think of my pants?
Stained.
Semen stains.
Oh, right. Oh, no. This is... Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
I'm not looking forward to this.
Well, you've done it before. You can.
Yeah, I've done it on my arm before.
You do it on your leg as well.
I'm going to do it on my leg. I'm going to do it at the top of my leg.
Are they both proper?
Yeah,
You
they're
can do
both.
either side, can't you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna make the line I made last time longer.
Oh, my God. I'm going to do it as high as possible, so I've got
Should we
friends...
do it in unison?
Jesus.
Jesus.
Jesus. All right, hang on. All right, I just got to pat it down, haven't I? Make sure it's all rubbed and nice. This is
Well,
going to be.
mine's
This is
definitely-
literally going to be my landing strip, is it, on my leg? Oh, fucking hell.
Right.
Right. So you're going to do 3, 2, 1, and on go.
Yeah, we'll go 3, 2, 1, go. Okay.
All right.
3, 2, 1, go!
Oh my God.
Oh, I didn't actually get that much, Rob. Look, this is how much I got. I was a bit. I tried.
I tell you what,
actually, it's not
right?
that much there.
I was hot before. My leg is on fire.
Oh, you're such a pussy.
I'm gonna read you. I'm gonna read you a news story before we go.
Oh, mixing it up. Go for it.
Sorry. Oh man.
Do you have to do this? If it's what I think it is, do you have to do it?
No, it's not. It's a different news story.
Oh, it's a different. It's not the one.
No, it's not the one before. No.
That made me cringe.
That's going to be on my other podcast, Rob's Records.
Oh, good.
When I get
good.
recording
Yeah.
that.
So you keep
little
that
plug.
filth. You keep that filth away.
A little plug there. Rob's Records podcast.
Who does that then?
Me, you idiot. All right. Oh, sorry. There is a strip in here. Sorry. Is this like a painkilling strip? Hang on.
No, it's not. It's just to get rid of the wax strip.
Oh, is it? Oh, right.
Just go out and buy yourself some Cocodamol or something.
Jeez. Hang on. I'm going to put this on my leg whilst I read you this. So anyway, a woman has opened up about the controversial carnivore diet she claims to follow, which involves eating raw meat every day, including steak, liver, and testicles, as well as drinking eggs. So the 90-year-old, named India, claims she's dropped 5 stone since starting the diet in September 2021, going from a UK size 16 down to a size 8. However, it's not all been smooth sailing, as she says she's even received death threats from strangers online who think she's lying about what she eats. India claims that over the years she had tried and failed to follow other diets such as vegan, vegetarian and pescatarian, but just ended up consuming takeaways, processed foods and plenty of sugary treats, leaving her not feeling quite right. Her diet reportedly now consists of raw meat including liver, steak, brain, testicles and intestines, as well as raw dairy, organic cheese and animal fats such as tallow. An average day of eating for India starts with uncooked steak and eggs or steak and liver for breakfast, a big piece of steak and some other organs and eggs for her main meal, water and raw dairy to drink throughout the day. And although she rarely snacks, it would usually be liver or steak. India says she can understand people's reservations about the unusual diet, but the hate online hasn't put her off. She said, "I became a carnivore because I heard such great things about it, but both mentally and physically," she continued. "You don't need to worry about what you're going to eat or what meals you're going to plan. It's a simple but effective diet. I get my meat from the butchers primarily, including brain, testicle, intestines. People are shocked or in disbelief when I tell them my diet." What do you think about that?
Well,
it's just the Atkins diet she's described there, isn't she?
Yeah, she sounds like an odd one, doesn't she?
Well, I'd say, quickly, I was going to say, because you're looking rather trim, I wondered, is it down to all the balls that you eat?
It is, I do eat balls. Chocolate salty balls. There's some romantic interest in my life at the minute. I went to a fancy dress party the other day. It was Knight Rider themed. And I went as Michael Knight, went as David Hasselhoff. And I saw a beautiful young lady who went as his car. And I'm like, I'd like to have a ride with her.
Did you get it on?
I tried my best. I got her up to the bedroom, into the bed, but I couldn't get her kit off.
Do we know what we're doing on the next show?
Haven't a clue.
Well, the intrigue is there.
We will be back.